Can you hear me now? Got it. Okay. All right. Today is the second half of our primary presentations on local candidates. Today is the Republicans. We have one missing, Marc Clay, and I have tried to call him and cannot get him, so I'm afraid we're going to be one short. However, we do have two council candidates, Vincent Chiravalle, and we have Roger Waterman, and we also have Steve Girrens representing Sharon, who is running for County Clerk. I'm going to give each one 5 minutes, and we have today more flexibility in questions because we have one missing. Afterwards, there will be questions, with the exception of the fact that we're going to go first with Steve because he has to go back to work. He's going to have 5 minutes to present Sharon, and then he's going to take his questions right then and run out the door. Now, 5 minutes, they each have the same 2 questions, everybody, including Steve, which is a little bit about the person running, the nature of their profession, how long they've been here, their family, all these things, experience in there. But also, the second question is, why are they running, which sometimes is quite important. This go around, all of these people, once again, basically have a free ride, both parties. They're just the same number that there are offices up. But we're going to be seeing them again very heavily as we go toward the general, and I thought this was a good time to start. So with no further ado, I will introduce to you Steve Girrens, who obviously is not Sharon Stover, whom we all know, but Sharon Stover is his wife, and he's here to speak for her. She had an unbreakable committee meeting. So, Steve?
Very good. So thank you. The first question was how long Sharon has been in town, and that's pretty much since 1983 she's been a White Rock resident with me, because that's when we got married and she moved in with me, so it's a good deal, right? So she's been involved, she's been over her years, over her, 25 plus years, she's been a county, involved with the county, first as a worker and then eventually as a elected official. And so the other things that she's been involved with are a lot of activities with youth. She started a lot of the youth leadership, and then also the JJB activity was. Now this starts to fold into why is she running. She has learned that a lot of times these youth things look up to a role model, and she gets a lot more. Kind of like bang out of the buck on the role model issue if you are an elected official. It just seems like it carries a lot more prestige with the youth. And I can understand that, but then you'll all say, well, why doesn't she want to run for council again? Well, I can tell you that there's a degree of fatigue associated with being a councilor, and so I think looking for an elected official position. The other thing I think she's outstanding at is being an ambassador. She's a great ambassador for this county, loves where she lives, and and so why is she running for clerk? It's my fault, okay? I think I pushed her over the edge, okay? Because I wanted to keep her involved, and this is a great place for her to recover from the fatigue, stay involved, and then have this elected official capacity with some of the youth things she's doing. The other cool thing that she's been able to do is make a lot of strong relationships with this New Mexico Association of Counties as part of being on the council. And in that group is elected officials. So I think she's got an opportunity then to keep those relationships going from the clerk point of view. I think if the council sees fit that she can continue doing that. So I think that pretty much wraps up the how long she's been here and why. Questions?
We have questions.
Okay, that's even better. Better. You can think about it, but don't do it.
I'll think of one. How are we doing on our electronic voting? What is our status in that? And I know you're not the candidate, but does she feel that we need to buy more things, or that we're pretty well set? Are things working?
I don't think she's had the time to follow up on that, but I think the perception is that things are working pretty decent. But you know, I haven't heard of any hiccups. But that's a good one to take back.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
to check on the machinery, the electronic machinery.
Yeah.
Because you could just go in and vote the other day, and I went to pay a bill, and you could vote. You know, and I was amazed.
That's right.
That things are, you know.
We have always had a very good reputation here, and I'm wondering if it's continuing. And
Yeah.
pass it on to her. That's all
Okay,
you can
sounds
do.
good.
Are there other questions?
There's a spider here. There, I got it.
Vincent?
Okay, good. Okay.
You
Yes.
guys had a question?
What?
I don't want to miss the opportunity to ask a question. I know
Did you get the memo on white shirts today? Good.
Well, you know, we match. I think it's good. One issue that's been in the news has been the governor's attempt to try to require voter identification for voting. And to your knowledge, does Sharon support the governor's position, and how does she feel about that?
That's a really good question. I don't understand. I'm with you. I don't understand why it shouldn't be a requirement. I need my driver's license to pay for half the stuff I pay for, you know. But I do not know, Vincent, where she stands.
Okay.
I won't put words in her mouth. That's not a good thing for me to do.
Okay, good?
Thank you
Okay,
very
good.
much.
And thanks a lot for sneaking me in, okay?
I think it's a measure of being a really good spouse to do something like this, and I would like to have another applause for him. Thank you. Okay, I think next we will go to Vincent Chiravalle. We'll do it alphabetically, which we did the other day. So Vincent, who you are and why you're running again.
I'd like first to take the opportunity to thank the members of Kiwanis for inviting me here and for a wonderful lunch. I really appreciate all the good things that your organization does for our community, and one of the most visible things is the fireworks that we all enjoy every year. So, and I look forward to that this year. About 9 years ago, I came to Los Alamos County. I came from New Jersey, and I took a staff position at the laboratory. And shortly after that, I purchased a home on North Mesa, right near the middle school and the posse, the sheriff's posse there. And I feel privileged and honored to be in our community. And I'm very impressed by the involvement of our citizens in local government and in all of the various issues that our local government deals with. And so a little bit of my background, when I'm not on the council and when I'm not working at the laboratory, I'm involved with the Immaculate Heart of Mary Catholic Church here in town. I'm a member of the Knights of Columbus, and I'm currently a third-degree member, and I hope to become a fourth-degree member, and that's when you get to have the sword and the ceremonial costume, which, but the Knights do a lot of good work, and for the Catholic Church, I'm involved in being a lector, and so occasionally on the weekends I get to read the scriptures. So this is a great community to be in, and I was humbled and honored 4 years ago to be elected as a county councilor. I was relatively new to politics. I had not, prior to that, held an elected office. And my approach to government is one where I want to put principles ahead of politics. And I think there are some issues where we have to come together, cross party lines, and put what's best for the community first. And I feel in some areas we've been able, that I've done that on the council. When I look at the challenges that face our community, I feel that the most important task of a public official is to look carefully and critically at public spending. We all know that there are important infrastructure needs in our community. And it had been many decades since the critical pieces of infrastructure were upgraded. And I support doing that. I want to make sure, however, that we're not spending more money than what we need to spend in our projects. And we should have an approach where we start with the basic needs and work from there. So I think in looking at the challenges for our community, the top priority and the most pressing challenge is to attract more young families to live here in our community. And so how do we go about doing that? And the manner or the priorities that I would put first would be first and foremost to support in any way possible our public schools, which are the jewel of our community. And one of the principal reasons why people would want to live here is because of the great quality of education in the public school systems. And I feel that the county has to take a leadership role in identifying sources of revenue, new sources of revenue that the schools can use for operational expenses. And in addition to strengthening our public education, I feel we also have to invest in new jobs. People would want to live here because of employment opportunities. And over the past year, the council approved loans and grants for technology companies, one of which being the New Mexico Consortium. And the consortium is a group of universities and research interests that studies biofuel technology. And the council was instrumental in giving them financial resources so they could get started in the Entrada Business Park. And I want to do more of that. I support that. And one mechanism that we have for giving assistance is the LEADA program, where we can give loans and grants to technology companies. And the third element that I think is very important to attract families to live here is going to be new affordable housing. And one of the things that the county can do in its affordable housing plan is they can offer incentives and discounts to developers who will build a certain percentage of affordable housing on their development. And this is something that I think we should emphasize, and I would make a top priority developing the A19 parcel, which is a 60-acre parcel next to the fire station in White Rock. I think that is a tremendous opportunity, and what the county needs to do is have a plan for its development and put in the spine infrastructure so that the land can be developed. What we don't want to do is become an obstacle for developers and for businesses. And so the county should move forward with its plan. And finally, in looking at council service, and it is a very demanding job, but I feel that I have some qualities. Well, I feel what we need in a counselor is someone who has shown that he has demonstrated that he or she can be an independent thinker and has shown the energy and determination to pursue what's in the best interests of the community. And I feel in the issues that I've advocated for and on the council, I feel that I've done that. And what we need to have is we need to continue our progress and continue to make investments in the community. And I ask for your support and for your vote to serve another term as a county councilor. Thank you very much.
Questions at the end, but I want to ask both of you at this point. Can you stay a few minutes after the meeting in case there are questions that are not approached here? I'm not talking about all day. I'm talking about maybe 5 minutes after the meeting.
Sure.
Is that a possibility? Okay, now we'll let you sit down. And you're next. Roger Waterman.
Okay. Well, I haven't done a stump speech in a long time, so if I quiver here, let me please let me go on and get through this. This is practice, right? This is what primaries are for. A little bit about my family. You all, probably most of you know us and my family. The Watermans came up here in 1947. I was a little less than 1 year old. My younger brother was born here at the Central Hospital and the Army Hospital, and my older brother was 5. We've been in business since, well, Dad had been in business since 1950. He came up here as a security guard with the Atomic Energy Commission, and he actually started the business. He started a moving business. At that time, Zia was here as a maintenance company. The fence was still up. And so they started a moving company that for $5 for 2 men in a truck. $5 an hour for 2 men in a truck. They showed up by appointment, and Zia showed up whenever they wanted to. They were overwhelmed with business. So he hated furniture moving, but made a success out of it. And we grew up moving furniture and in the salvage business, tearing down the World War II buildings around Ashland Pond and selling the pieces. And then he got into the house moving business, and my brother, younger brother, took that business over and ended up being in heavy hauling business for real. So I had the privilege of being on the council 25 years ago. I served 3 terms. I served with some true community leaders. Maury was really on that council. I served with George Chandler, Sid Singer, Jeanette Wallace, people who committed their lives to this community. It was a challenging and rewarding experience. We, at that time, had no budget. There was no capital line item. And our struggle was to find income. The federal government, by direct support, was still providing 20 to 30% of our general fund budget. And we were warned that that was not going to go on forever. So during the 6 years that I was on the council, we undertook the utilities acquisition project, which took the entire 6 years. And the benefits have been reaped for the last 20 years in terms of lower utility rates and contributions to the general fund. But that was a huge project. We took over the gas, water, electric, and we also got into the generating business and bought a piece of San Juan 6 up in Farmington, built 2 hydro plants, and bought some guaranteed power from the Laramie River Station in Wyoming. We also started the process of taking over the fire department and providing services to both the lab and the county. So we were told the county was going to have to take an increasing share of that responsibility. That has proved to be true, but it's better to run the department and do it as a county rather than have DOE do it and charge you for the privilege. So I think we've got one of the finest fire departments in the nation as a result of resources, but also as the result of experience and the requirements of protecting the laboratory. Another thing that we undertook was there was a lawsuit going on from the state of New Mexico against basically the laboratory, which went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and that was settled in favor of the state of New Mexico. And the decision basically said that the taxable subcontractors of the oh wow, I didn't think I could talk 5 minutes. I haven't even got to the good part. Well, I'll just say, I think this council has done a good job. And I think they've made some mistakes in the big capital improvement projects they undertook. Probably problems with programming. They didn't get the budget and the programming right on the Justice Center and the airport, so we ended up with a few surprises. But I also think they corrected course. I think they beefed up the staff, and I think the staff's ready to take on these capital projects with less problems. I think the budget and programming part of it still has to be worked on because we've built some dream buildings that unfortunately we're not going to be able to build. Let's see, what else did I get? Well, I think we got 4 documents that will guide us in the future if I'm given the chance to help. I think the council accepted a housing plan. They joined the creative district last month. They did a strategic economic vitality plan, which I think is a great guide, and they've got a great budget. I think with those 4 documents as guides, I would hope that my 30 years of business experience would make me a good addition to the council. And I'd like to seek your support.
Do we have any time for questions now? It would be good if we could have 1 or 2.
2 minutes left.
2 minutes left. Okay, so you two.
Go ahead.
I said last time that you can direct your question to 1 person, but we only have 2 here. So if you want to direct 1 to 2 of them, but point them so that we can get them done, so we can get in a couple questions.
Yeah, I have a question for Vincent. You're talking about encouraging people getting more jobs up here. You talked about the other technology, but I think what is much more important than that, because we already have a lot of technological jobs in this town, is the underlying support structure of small businesses and other businesses. As was mentioned before last week, we used to have a great sporting goods store down with Kiwanis, and you can't find stuff like that here now. There are many businesses that we used to have that are just not here. And it's very complex, I understand, and it's such a balance between different factors. But are there people involved that sell food are going to dive into that headlong? Because I think that's a critical issue of making this town grow and keeping younger families.
Okay, I'm going to cut you off and say, Vincent, would you start and just speak quickly, and then we'll have you comment.
Okay. There are a number of things that local government can do to help small businesses. It's difficult. One of the principal challenges is rent. I don't want to make it more difficult by putting more of a GRT tax burden on small businesses. And so I think the council has to resist the temptation to raise GRT and possibly lower GRT to help our smaller businesses. And the other area that we can help is the regulatory area. I don't want it to be onerous for small businesses to apply for the licenses they need, to apply for construction permits, and to have to wait 21 days in order to get the permit. We have to improve that process, and work is currently underway to try to improve it, but we have to be steadfast and insist that we improve that process.
Roger?
Same question.
Yes.
I think Los Alamos is a great town for small business. I think the world economy has changed to where big box and the World Wide Web has made it very competitive for everybody in business in this nation, for sure. When Sears can't compete and JCPenney can't compete, it's going to be difficult for the mom and pops in town. But there are niches and there are businesses in town that have been here for years who do their business well. And I think the county, the primary problem I think the county has run into is their regulatory through their development code and the implementation of it. I do think that the county recognizes that, though, and I think they've made personnel changes that hopefully will address it. I think the recent 2 closings that have happened, people have seen them in the newspaper. I think those were individual circumstances, and I think it's being proven right now that those closings are creating new opportunities, and I think we'll see 2 new good businesses come through the closings of those 2 that served us for so long.
Okay, I think we'll cut it off there. We're out of town. We're out of time. However, both of these people have said they'll stay for a few minutes afterwards. So if you had something you wanted to ask and you did not get a chance, we're going to close the meeting and they'll be here for a few minutes.
Sure.
Thank you both very much for coming, and I'd like to give you both a little